here we are again. Another week, another mass shooting in America. We have seen them in offices and schools. We've seen them in concerts and movie theaters, Walmarts and Starbucks. This time, the killer and his gun entered a small church in a small town in Texas.
You are looking live at the First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, where worshipers were gunned down, as you know, during a Sunday morning service. Much like this one that was recorded in the church last week, the pastor was out of town yesterday with his wife, but their 14-year-old daughter was one of the victims. The few images we have of the church show just how small it is, really nowhere to hide.
A tiny church. Here is what we know right now. At least 26 people killed, 20 injured. The shooter, who died after a car chase, was 26 years old. He had served in the Air Force but was court-martialed for assaulting his wife and child, then discharged for bad conduct in 2014. One of the big questions, given that record, how did he buy a gun?
That is the big question. President Trump has ordered the flag to be flown at half-staff until Thursday night to honor the victims. Our team is on the ground with breaking developments overnight. Amy Robach starts us off in Sutherland Springs. Good morning, Amy.
Robin, good morning. This small town, about a 30-minute drive outside of San Antonio, is in complete shock and mourning this morning. This is a community where everyone knows one another. Just a few hundred people live here, and all of them are dealing with an unthinkable loss of life. Everyone in this town has been impacted. They know someone who has either been killed or injured inside the First Baptist Church here. This morning, 26 killed and 20 others wounded in what is now the deadliest shooting in Texas history.
We have 6 ambulances en route.
According to investigators, around 11:20 a.m. local time, the attacker, identified by authorities as 26-year-old Devin Patrick Kelly, parked his car at this gas station before walking across the street to First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas.
He had a face mask on, so I couldn't identify him or anything, and he had what looked like body armor or vest on.
The masked gunman opening fire outside the church during a morning worship session.
He was just shooting the church from the outside. He was going from the face of the church around to the side, and he kept just unloading.
Witnesses living nearby say he unloaded at least 3 clips before making his way inside. According to the sheriff, the shooter's in-laws occasionally attended church services here.
He then opens the church and goes in. I kept hearing gunshots. I'd say probably 2 to 3 clips he unloaded while inside there.
You can see just how small the church is from these photos taken at an earlier date. Barely any space to hide. The youngest killed, just 5 years old. The oldest, 72.
As he exited the church, a local resident grabbed his rifle and engaged that suspect.
The armed resident jumping in fellow neighbor Johnny Langendorf's truck. The two chasing after the suspect, who fled the scene by car until the gunman crashed just over 10 miles away at the Wilson-Guadalupe County line.
He ran off the roadway and crashed out and was found deceased in his vehicle. At this time, we don't know if it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound or if he was shot by our local resident. There were multiple weapons in the vehicle.
This morning, officials not yet ready to discuss a motive. ATF and FBI on the scene assisting local law enforcement, combing through a small 400-people tight-knit community, now in tears.
It's another census act by a cowardly bastard is all I can tell you. There's no reason for it, but that's the world we live in today.
In a town with just 2 gas stations, a community center, a post office, the First Baptist Church was truly the heart of this community. And now this morning, it remains an ongoing active crime scene with federal and local authorities here trying to figure out what caused this gunman to choose this town, a remote area where neighbors help one another, where no one locks their doors, and also choose a place of worship to commit his heinous act of violence. There are so many questions that remain and so much devastation here this morning. Robin?
Oh, absolutely, Amy. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.